Hello, this is Reverend Don Lewis coming to you from beautiful Salem. And tonight our question comes to us from Wax13, who asks about disabled pagans, particularly blind pagans, and how their practice differs, if in fact it differs, from that of other pagans. And the obvious first answer to this is that it would be a very individual question. It would really depend upon the challenges faced by that particular pagan, how they would adapt their practice to their needs and circumstances, and in that, disabled pagans are no different from any other pagan. Just last night we were talking about how people might adapt their practice regarding incense if for some reason they found it necessary or desirable not to use incense. It would be the same for a disabled person, except the things they would have to adapt would largely be for physical reasons. However, having said that, everything we do is adaptable. Therefore, there really should be no difficulty for disabled pagans beyond deciding what works for them and how best to apply it, just like all other pagans. I've been particularly proud of the fact that the Karelian tradition has a very high percentage of people with disabilities of one sort or another, and that this has posed no problem, so far as I know, for the vast majority of them. We have blind people, we have deaf people, we have people in wheelchairs, all of whom are able to partake just as fully as all other members, and I think that's how it ought to be. There are certainly things that must be adapted at times, and one has to have an eye to accessibility. And obviously the challenges that disabled pagans are most likely to face come down to the issue of accessibility. Pagans who are in wheelchairs will often find it hard to get to temples or even to get in temples if the temple services are being held in buildings that are not accessible. Therefore, it's appropriate for temples to try to be as physically accessible as possible. Blind pagans will have some trouble getting books and other literature that is adopted for the use of the blind. It is out there, but not in large numbers. As a community, we need to do more of this. Deaf pagans often ask for closed captioning, and we need more of that. That said, I think that as a community, we're becoming more and more accessible, and that we should have a commitment to becoming still more accessible. There are certainly always things that we can do that remain to be done, but one by one we do them. And for the disabled pagan, I really feel that in most ways their situation isn't really different from other pagans, at least as far as their individual practice is concerned, because it's all a matter of adapting to what works for you. And in the end, all that matters is what works for you and whether it in fact does work. And exactly how you do it, exactly what you use, doesn't matter all that much. It's making the connection, making the shift of consciousness, achieving the results that you desire, and having spiritual growth that matters. And that is something that's accessible to everybody. So those are my thoughts on that, and until next time, may you blessed be.